Hi guys, so I'm just gonna get right into my story. I went vegan in 2014, December 2014. I did it overnight after watching a speech on YouTube called 101 Reasons to Go Vegan. It was very convincing, and of course the videos of the tortured animals played a part. That was the main reason. A little bit of health too, because I was always very health conscious, but it was mainly for the animals. So the very next day I cut everything out completely cold turkey. I was not vegetarian or anything like that. I just went from eating everything to vegan, and at first everything was fine. I didn't notice anything bad, but nothing good really either. So fast forward to January 2016, I got pregnant with my daughter, who's now almost 4 years old, and she's very healthy, thank goodness, other than her teeth, which I'll get into later. But so I got pregnant with her, and that pregnancy was fine. I did have a condition called HG, hyperemesis gravidarum. This has nothing to do with the veganism. It's just, I think, genetic. Well, I don't think it has anything to do with it anyway. So I was throwing up all the time, bedridden, losing a lot of my nutrients. I would be throwing up to 8 times a day, to the point where I was throwing up bile, and yeah, that was not fun. So I lost 15 pounds in like the first month or two of my pregnancy, and after that, yeah, my health just went downhill from there. And I'm not gonna say that was completely due to the veganism. It was obviously also due to the throwing up and everything. After my daughter was born, I suffered from anxiety and depression, and that's fairly normal, they say, postpartum, but I don't know, I just knew something was not right. I especially did not know why I was gaining all this weight. So when I got pregnant with Melody, my daughter, I was 123 pounds, and then I was throwing up, so I went down to 109 pounds. And then by the time I was giving birth to her, I was 140 pounds. And then after she was born, I didn't lose any of that weight. I was just 138 pounds for a very long time. And then actually, as she was growing, I gained weight. So I got to my highest weight ever, like I want to say 2 years postpartum, when she was 2 years old. That was last March, so March 2019. I was 152 pounds, which is even more than I weighed when I was 9 months pregnant with her. So I'm like, what is going on? I'm gaining all this weight and I'm having trouble losing it. I cut out all this sugar, I cut out chips, all the junk food, and I started walking and jogging, and I did get down to 135 pounds and plateaued there. Couldn't really lose any more than that. And then in October 2019, I got pregnant again, and I was so excited. And then 2 weeks later, I was 6 weeks along, I started bleeding, and I found out that I'm miscarrying, which I thought was very strange because I am so young. I'm only 23 years old, 22 at the time. And yeah, I thought I eat rather healthy. I always thought that this happens to people who are not healthy. I don't consume any toxins in my life. I use all natural laundry detergents and house cleaners and all of that. I don't use any fragrances, nothing toxic. So it really just caught me off guard, I guess. But then I realized it's rather common. 1 in 4 women will miscarry early on, and it's usually due to a genetic abnormality, which is not super common for women of my age, but anyhow, I just brought it down to that. And then a month later, the end of November 2019, I got pregnant again, and I was scared that whole pregnancy because of what happened the last time, but I was reading things that reassured me, like only 2% of women will miscarry twice in a row. So I thought, well, that's not going to happen to me then. And Anyway, so I did start throwing up with that pregnancy, so I thought, okay, it's got to be successful, because with the miscarriage I was not throwing up. And that continued on for 3 months. I spent in bed throwing up. I lost 10 pounds again, throwing up 3 to 5 times a day, very dehydrated, could not eat. But I just figured, since that happened with my daughter, that this time around would be fine. I was even worse with my daughter with the throwing up. But anyway, I was about 15 weeks along when I started spotting a bit, and I read online that's not normal for the second trimester. And of course it freaked me out because of what happened the last time. So I went straight to the emergency room, where they did an ultrasound and discovered there was no heartbeat and that the baby had passed away at around 12 weeks gestation. So I had no idea. I was carrying a dead fetus inside of my womb for like a month, if not more, and I had no idea. So I just was absolutely devastated, and that was the worst news I could have ever imagined, because I didn't expect that news when I went to the emergency room. So I had what was known as a miscarriage. That's when the baby dies but your body does not know, so you go along without any symptoms. And after that happened, I wanted to miscarry naturally. I didn't want to do the DNC procedure, which is a surgery to remove the fetus. So I waited 2 weeks. I was 17 weeks along at that point, and nothing had happened. So my OBGYN prescribed me misoprostol pills to take at home, which will help your body miscarry naturally. Anyway, I took those pills, and they worked. I started having contractions that felt like labor pains, and after that happened, I passed the fetus. I have a picture. So anyway, I passed the fetus, and I thought I was done because I passed also blood clots. Sorry, this is gonna get graphic. I passed blood clots, and I just figured that was the placenta because they were big, but apparently it wasn't. So I was still in a lot of pain afterwards, and I was bleeding out completely. I went to the OBGYN, and everything was just covered in blood, and she took a look and she said, you have a retained placenta, and until it comes out you're not going to stop bleeding. And at that point I had lost like 400 milliliters of blood, she assumed. So it was kind of an emergent situation, and she called 911. And then I went there. I fainted twice over there, and they hooked me up to blood transfusions right away. I was literally dying, and I felt like I was dying. I just kept begging them to please make sure that I come out alive, because I have a daughter. I have a 3-year-old daughter who needs me. So yeah, that happened. And then I made it out alive, obviously, thank goodness. It was really difficult, and after that I did struggle with anemia for a while, because I did lose a lot of blood. And I mean, I did get other people's blood, so that was good. Yeah, after that I was just, for 2 weeks, like, horrible condition. I couldn't get out of bed without feeling lightheaded, and my mental state was horrible, which I attributed to the fentanyl that I was given, and also the just traumatic experience, because what I didn't include is that without any type of numbing medication or any type of drugs at all, for 2 hours they were scraping my insides out. Yeah, so that was not fun. And yeah, don't ever go to a New York City hospital because they suck. But anyway, it was a very traumatic experience. I was screaming, yelling, and nobody seemed to care except for one nurse who 2 hours later brought me fentanyl, so thank you for that. After all of that happened, I was struggling with lots of period pains, and ovulation pains were the worst, to the point where I couldn't stand up or move, or it felt like my insides were turning. And I wasn't sure if it's because they damaged me while they were scraping me out, because I was squirming around so much, because it was so painful, obviously. So I wasn't sure if it was due to that. But I went to the OBGYN, and she did find 2 ovarian cysts that were likely what was causing the pain. I was not properly ovulating. Instead of the egg coming down to the fallopian tubes, it was forming into a cyst. So that's what was happening, and I was having very short cycles. I want to say in June I had 2 periods, so June 5th and then June 25th again. Like, my hormones were all over the place, and I was having a very hard time conceiving as well. So we were struggling with infertility, and I was not sure what was causing all this. The recurrent miscarriages, the cysts, the infertility, everything. Like, it's not so normal for a woman my age. And like I said before, 1 in 4 women will miscarry early on. But what happened to me is not common at all, because that's only 2% of women will miscarry twice in a row. And then only 1% will miscarry past the first trimester. So after the first 12 weeks, it's not common. So I figured something must be wrong. Something's going on here. I was listening to nutritionists and fertility specialists that were saying you need omega-3s in your diet. Like, women who do not consume seafood are going to have higher miscarriage rates than those who do. Same was true with eggs and dairy, which I wasn't consuming any of that. So now I can only assume that I was lacking omega-3s, choline, zinc, iodine, iron, cholesterol, retinol, just a bunch of things, a bunch of amino acids that are non-essential, but they really are essential. And I was a mess. So really, all of these nutrients, people will tell you could get on a vegan diet, but you can't. You can eat all the chia seeds that you want, and it's not going to be enough DHA and ELA. It's not going to be any of that, because it doesn't get converted. We're not ruminants. We don't have 4 stomachs to convert all of these nutrients from plants. We humans suck at getting nutrients, really, we do. So people always tell you, vegans always say, skip the middleman and eat the plants. But we can't skip the middleman, because the middleman, the cows, for example, are what convert the nutrients for us, because we cannot do that. We cannot digest cellulose, and a lot of these plant proteins, they're indigestible to us. That's why on the diet I was always bloated, and I did have a lot of indigestion, and like, my stools were not normal anyway. So yeah, I think this about sums it up. Oh, okay, I did want to also add that my daughter, who's 3, has horrible teeth. I raised her vegan. Obviously, she was conceived when I was vegan. I was breastfeeding her when I was vegan, and when she stopped breastfeeding, she ate 100% vegan up until I made the switch. So with her teeth, all of them have like dark yellow, like enamel loss on them, all her teeth. One tooth, she even had to get removed because she chipped it playing by the sprinklers. She fell and cracked it, and it ended up causing her a lot of pain over the months to come, and her nerve was being exposed, and she had to have it removed, and it was the most heartbreaking experience ever, because I had to hold her down, and they had to pull her tooth out. They numbed her with lidocaine and pulled her tooth out, and that was just terrible for me. I had to hold her down, and I was crying myself hysterically. The dentist was telling me to calm down because I'm scaring her, but it was just horrible. You don't want to go through that. So, and now all of her teeth are quite damaged, and I do blame the vegan diet. I really do. I can't think of anything else, because I never gave her like refined sugars. I never let her eat cakes and all that junk. So I think it had to be the diet. I really do. I believe this. And all her friends who eat like crap, just drink all these juices and sodas and all this, they have perfect teeth. So it just didn't really make sense to me until I realized what the vegan diet was lacking, and then it all made sense. Everything just made sense. And now we quit veganism almost 2 months ago. So we quit in July and it is now August, and we're doing better. I have so much more energy. I walk for 3 hours every morning and my hormones seem to be regulating. Everything is regulating. And my daughter seems to have more energy too, even though she is so picky. So it's hard to get her to eat things, but she was always very low energy and lazy, and I put that down to her being a female. But I really do think it was the diet, and I don't think it's an optimal diet for everybody. And they say that it's supposed to be great for all stages of life. I don't believe that study. I really don't. I don't even think that study was done on 100% strict vegans. If you think about it, there's never been a vegan society in history that was 100% vegan. Never. And also think about where your ancestors came from. So for me, my ancestors came from Ukraine. Ukraine, it's a very meat heavy country, you know. The only fruit that they have there in the winter is in the form of jams. So they definitely eat a ton of animal products, and I do feel it's in my DNA. I think maybe it's possible for some of the population to survive off of plants, but not for most, and definitely not for people that are from cold climates. It was not the case for me, and I don't want to make this too long, but yeah, I think that about sums up my vegan experience and why I will never go vegan again. I eat everything now. Everything. I try to get everything grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised. I will not eat food, non-vegan foods if I'm out. Well, unless it's seafood really, but even that, I'm not sure where it came from. I don't like that idea. So I tend to eat vegan when I'm out, but at home I'm always cooking animal-based meals. And I do feel a lot better, have a lot more energy. So, yeah. Oh, I guess I did forget to mention also that I have quite a few, like a lot of gray hairs for my age, and I started getting gray hairs at 19. So yeah, that's kind of weird, I guess. And also some wrinkles, but yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.